Hello, I'm Chad Kassem from Acoustic Sounds, and today I got Graham Nash with me, and he's here in Salina, Kansas, going to be performing tonight at
Stiefel,
the Stiefel Theatre. We got a great theater here, and it's perfect for your music because of the acoustics and the sound.
Right. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah. And, you know, he's played, this is like your third, maybe fourth time in Salina, so... And she's telling me it's close to a sellout, so that's...
I like that.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to it. But so you got a new album that you came out with?
I did, yeah. I put it out a few months ago. It's called Now, and basically it's about what was happening with me now, you know, because the truth is, you know, I'm 82 now, and I never thought that I'd be able to fall in love again, you know, but I did with my wife now, Amy Granton, and so it put me through a lot of changes, you know, looking back at my life, you know, which I don't do a lot of, but I did, and I began to realize that I did some pretty interesting stuff with my life. You know, I started basically with the Holies in 1962, and we recorded our first hit in early '63, and we never looked back. You know, I mean, I think we had around 15 top 10 records by the time I left. I left, of course, to join David and Stephen. You know, I was living with Johnny, you know, in Laurel Canyon, and. We've got a new record coming out called Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young at the Fillmore East in 1969.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
And in listening to it, I realized just how much we really liked each other. We really loved each other. We were funny. We would tell jokes in the middle of a song. You know, I mean, it was an incredible time. Those years between 68 and 71 were unbelievable, particularly in Laurel Canyon. I mean, because there were lots of people living around. I mean, Jackson Browne and the early Eagles, and you know, David Blue and Jennifer Warren, and you know, just it was an unbelievable scene.
It must have been awesome living in California at that time. I mean, just for something simple like the traffic, I bet you it was so much nicer then, huh?
Yeah, it's a little crazy now, as you well know. But then it was wonderful, and we would walk all over I mean, I would walk from Laurel Canyon down to the studio at Wally Hyder's.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy indeed.
I mean, like you lived the life that we all dream about. Like everybody that's my age wish we were a little bit younger, so we could have been a little bit older when all this was going on. Well, basically your age, we kind of wish that we were. But not only were you there during it, I mean, you were like a part of it. I mean, like you were one of the main parts of it. And to me, I just have a feeling you probably remember more than most.
I have a pretty good memory about most of my life, yes. I mean, I did my share of drugs, you know, with everybody else, but I don't think I was ever really addicted to any of them. And my memory is still pretty decent, you know. I mean, my autobiography, Wild Tales, you know, I have a pretty good brain.
What would be like a typical party like in 1969 in California?
The thing that we would do is play everybody the new songs that we'd written. Hey, listen to this, you know, Marrakesh Express. Hey, listen to this, you know, Helplessly Hoping.
But I mean, like, who might be this?
Most of the people that lived around Laurel Canyon. You know, like I said before, the early Eagles and Jackson
Browne, with Jim Morrison. You have a...
I met Jim once. I actually bought his television.
Really?
Yeah. I was living with Rita Coolidge at the time after my affair with Joni. And she needed a new television, and she'd seen in one of the local papers that this guy had one for sale, and so I met him down at the Clear Thoughts building, which in Hollywood was our original offices, and I bought his television. He called me sir.
Did you know who you were meeting at the time?
Oh yeah, of course
yeah.
I knew who it was. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, because the Doors were a pretty popular band at the time, of course.
Yeah.
But it was funny meeting him. You know, buying his television.
Well, so another fun, talking about your new album and your tour. So I heard something interesting happened in Colorado during the tour.
Oh yeah, on the very opening night of the tour, about 2 weeks ago, about a minute before we were supposed to walk on stage, the entire electricity and all the lights went out in Boulder, Colorado, and it was a 7:30 show, and the promoter said, "Well, let's wait a little, see if the power comes back on, and if it doesn't come back on until by 8 o'clock, we'll just cancel the show."
Oh.
And all four of us said, "No, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to set up 4 chairs. We had one emergency light, that was shining on us, and we had our normal candles around, and we played an incredible acoustic show with no microphones, no nothing." No keyboards. So Todd Caldwell had to play. He was shaking a can of nuts. It was an incredible show, and I've heard that people thought it was very much like I was playing in your living room.
Man, it sounds like a special night.
It was a very special night.
Almost better than just you would have felt privileged to have happened. It's almost like
a lot of people said that.
Yeah,
they said it was very much like a campfire.
Well, how big was it? A smaller venue?
No, 2,000 people.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But the acoustics were that good to where? Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's just amazing, man.
In Chautauqua, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, we're in the process of doing this Atlantic 75 anniversary, 75 years of Atlantic Records, and we work real good with the people at Rhino and Warner Brothers and Craig Cowman from Atlantic.
Right.
And the last time you came, we were showing you around, and we had Deja Vu on the table, and you were like, "I want to see you put that out." And I'm like, "Well, help me, buddy, help me," and it took a few years and this whole thing coming around where the Atlantic 75 anniversary, and to happen, but it happened, and
right.
And I appreciate any help you had. To
our dear friend Ahmed Erdogan was a big fan of us, and when we first signed a contract with Atlantic, we were supposed to do an album a year. We didn't do that, and Ahmed kept the lawyers away from us. He said, "No, I know what they signed, but listen to the music. When they're going to do an album, we'll put it out. That's what we do. Just leave them alone. Don't start suing them. Don't start any of that." And Ahmed was a big fan of ours and helped us tremendously. And of course, we had David Geffen and Elliot Roberts as our managers, and so it was a really truly magical time. And there was a big difference between the first Crosby, Stills and Nash record and Deja Vu.
Yeah.
With the first record, I was living with and in love with Joni. Stephen was in love with Judy Collins, and David was in love with his girlfriend Christine. Right. So just over a year later, when we were doing Deja Vu, Joni and I had broken up. So had Stephen and Judy, and Christine, David's girlfriend, had been killed in an automobile accident. So it's a much darker album.
Yeah.
And particularly because it includes Neil, and Neil always brings an incredible edge to
a little
our music.
grungy, a little. But I mean, Teach Your Children in Our House is not. Those are classics.
There's a story that happened with Teach Your Children. We had cut the track. We were in Wally Hyder's in San Francisco, in Studio A. And we'd cut the track. It was me on acoustic, Stephen on acoustic, and Dallas Taylor playing tambourine. When he got to the part about doing a solo, Stephen and Neil said, you know, we've done so many solos on this record. Can't we do something different? And I actually didn't know what we could do different. And then Crosby said, hey, my friend Jerry Garcia is in the next studio. And he's just started to learn to play pedal steel, maybe pedal steel. So we made a rough track of the song. I said to David, go take it into the studio next door, see if Jerry wants to do it. He played him the song. Jerry loved the song. He came and he played brilliantly, the first track. And I said, Jerry, that's fantastic. Anniversary of his death was yesterday.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
no.
27 years, I think.
Man.
And he said, you know, I made a couple of mistakes. Can we do a second track? I said, absolutely, but I'm never going to use it. I said, I love the way that you made your way through a song that you'd only heard once. I said it was spontaneous, it was beautiful. We did repaired the two mistakes that he made and put them into the track. But it's his first track. And to pay him, I gave him a Fender Stratocaster.
Oh, really?
And that's the one where he put an alligator sticker on the guitar, and it became the alligator guitar.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Wow, man, you got some stories, man. I mean, that's a good story about Ahmet Ertegun, because, you know, I hear a lot about him. And
he was a music man.
Yeah. And that was very smart of him to not be bullying y'all, you know, and let y'all, because y'all delivered some albums, man. Y'all delivered enough, and you don't want to rush. You can't rush, you know.
Not us, no.
Yeah.
And we knew it, because here's what happened. When I was first recording with the Holies in '63, the people at EMI at Abbey Road, they wore white smocks. I mean, they were technicians, right?
Yeah.
And if we wanted a little more bass, you know, we'd have to ask our producer, Ron Richards, who would then tell the engineer to bring the bass up. Once we had hit records, we knew what power we had. And from that moment on, from our first hit record, if I wanted more bass or more vocals, I could do it myself on the board. You had a certain power because you were selling records, which is exactly what they wanted to do. And we never lost track of that power. And we have it even today. We can go into any studio we want. We can have anybody who record us, anybody. Nobody can mess with us anymore.
Well, I mean, that's good, great. So when you first came to America, had you already formed a relationship with Stills?
No. I'd met David. He came to England with the Byrds.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, they tried to call them the American Beatles. Well, in those days, you couldn't say that because the Beatles were so popular.
Well,
of
the
course,
Beatles
you know.
are the Beatles.
So anyway, he was staying at a hotel in London called the White House, funnily enough. And I called him one day. I says, you know what? Come over to my apartment. Come and stay with me, man. Get rid of all this crazy publicity that's happening. And so I knew David. So one day I played the last show with the Holies at the London Palladium in '68, in December of '68. And the next day I came to spend some time with Joni. I got in the yellow cab at LAX airport, and I drove to Lookout Mountain in Laurel Canyon. And when I got out of the cab, there were other voices in there, and it kind of pissed me off a little because I just wanted to be with Joni, right? But it was David and Stephen. They were having dinner with Joni. So we'd smoked a big one, you know, and after dinner, you know, David says, hey, Stephen, play Willie that song that we've been doing. And they were working on a song of Stephen's called You Don't Have to Cry. And they played it, and what they were doing, you see, Stephen had left Buffalo Springfield because they'd broken up. David had been thrown out of the Byrds, you know, and so they were trying to get like an Everly Brother kind of thing together, you know, two-part. They played me the song. I said, first of all, that's a fantastic song, Stephen. That's really incredible. Do me a favor, sing it again. They looked at each other, they shrugged, and they sang it again. We got to the end of it, and I said, okay. I've learned the words. I know what I'm going to do. Sing it one more time. And the third time we did it, when I added my voice, we had to stop the song and laugh because it was ridiculous. We had never, I mean, obviously the Holies and the Byrds and the Springfield were decent harmony bands, but we had never heard that sound, that the three of us singing round one, microphone in the studio. We had to start laughing. And we knew that it was going to be really, really a good record.
Yeah, all three of y'all just, there was no question. All felt the same.
Yeah, there was no doubt.
No kidding. So this is 68?
Yeah.
No kidding. And then when did Woodstock was?
69.
So, man, things were moving quick, huh?
Oh, yeah.
How long had y'all been playing?
We had done one show in front of people.
Before Woodstock?
Mm-hmm. The Auditorium Theatre in Chicago.
Did y'all record anything?
No, not that first show. And strangely enough, we were ballsy enough to have Joni open for us.
Wow.
And I talked to people who were at that show, that very first one, and said it was an amazing show. And the second show we ever did was Woodstock.
How much do you remember for that?
All of it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I remember flying in there in a helicopter and almost getting killed because about 20 feet, the tail rotor stopped and the helicopter started spinning and they had to put it down hard. No one got injured, but that's how we got to Woodstock.
What time was y'all set?
We were supposed to play around 9 o'clock, something like that. But, everything was running a little late. And so I don't think we went on until like 10:30, maybe 11 o'clock at night.
So, wow, man, again, you lived through and was a part of the most incredible music scene. I mean, I love blues. I love old jazz and blues. But as far as classic rock, classic pop, and early rock and roll and the 70s. I mean,
I've been in some interesting places, kid.
So let's talk one more last thing about the Holies. So when, in fact, you know what we
one of my favorite records.
So tell the story about.
Well, we were the Holies.
Yeah.
we used his name as our band name. We spelled it, IES at the end, of course. But we love Buddy's music. I mean, he was one of us. He wasn't like Elvis with his slicking back his hair and he's shaking his ass. This kid had glasses, for God's sake, but he was one of us. And I remember the day he died, which was, I think, the day after my birthday, me and Alan Clark crying our eyes out on the sidewalk.
So when you were playing a gig and y'all had to decide on what name?
Sure. We called ourselves the Holies.
So right before the gig, you were like...
And not only that...
What was the other choice?
The Deadbeats. Because our drummer, Don Rathbone, his father had a mortuary. And so our first van, we were lucky there weren't coffins in the back of that thing. But later on, my friend Paul Gurion, who produced Peggy Sue Got Married, he had a tape of Buddy doing Peggy Sue Got Married in just acoustic in his apartment in New York City. And actually that apartment was up for sale and I almost bought it, but it was only a one-bedroom apartment. And anyway, what we did was I wanted to get Paul on bass and George on guitar and Phil Collins on drums and redo it. But for some reason it didn't work out. But we put the two tracks of the original demo onto a multi-track, and we sang with him.
Wow, nice.
We did the background voices, we did the 3-part harmony and stuff, and we actually got to play with Buddy Holly.
Nice. I didn't know that. So when the first time I met Graham, he came here and I was working on this album, and he told me the story. That's why I kind of knew about it. And so when we were working on the artwork, we asked Graham to write a little something, and it's a beautiful what you wrote. It's very short, but it's very, very good. And
well, because he was very important to us.
Yeah.
You know, because if you when you were a kid and you were learning to play guitar, if you could play 3 chords, you could play most of Buddy's songs.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
So we've done this one. People are loving it. I mean, we did the original and the texture.
Yeah, you do some incredible work here. I mean, you've got to sleep well.
You know what?
Because you do the best you can.
Well, that's what you got to do. You got to do the best you can, and don't cheap out on anything.
Why does it say Feb 2nd? That's my birthday.
Is it? You kidding me?
Yeah, why does it say that?
I don't know. Maybe
it was a little post-it note on the.
We might have released it there and didn't even and missed an opportunity. We might have missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, we were working in the studio, and our friend Henry Diltz came to the studio, and we said, you know what? Holy shit, we don't have an album cover yet. And we hadn't even called ourselves Crosby, Stills and Nash yet. Stephen wanted it to be Stills, Nash, Crosby. That didn't. No, the only way that it really works coming off your tongue is Crosby, Stills and Nash. Right. So that day, he said, come on, let's go for a walk and see if we can shoot a cover, right? So we saw this old house, this beautiful old house.
Open it all up. Yeah, that's awesome.
And we sat on the things, and what you could do then, you could take your film into Kodak and have it the next day, right? And that's what happened, right? And we chose this as the cover. It was the best shot, except that we're sitting in the wrong order, because at that point we had decided to call ourselves Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Yeah.
So we tried to go back the next day. There was no house.
What?
It had been.
I thought you were going to say there's no couch.
No. There was no house. It had been bulldozed into the back.
I thought you were going to say there's no couch.
No.
There's no house.
There was no house.
What about this, though?
That's Dallas Taylor.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah, a lot of people think it's Neil Young. But it's not, no.
But that's kind of cool that there's even anybody like that.
Yeah, Gary Burden, who was our art director, did that. He put Dallas in there.
I mean, the jackets y'all did, everything was way more. You know, this one's got the beautiful texture. This one's got this leatherette, you know, and believe me, when we try to do everything the highest quality, and the to match the original of these is the most expensive jackets. Yeah, it's hard.
Except that you did a wonderful job.
Yeah,
It's you do remarkable work here. No wonder all the rock stars that come and visit here are just blown away.
Well, we trying, man. You know, because like you were saying earlier, we're lucky to be doing what we love for a living.
Yeah, but we're lucky that you are so into it. I mean, we are trusting you with our music. We can't pay you a better compliment.
Well, that's a nice compliment. And the thing is I don't know how to play an instrument. You know what I mean? You play, and I'll try to make it come out, represent you as good as it should be. We want it to sound as good as better than the original, and as good as possible. And I mean, like when we were just playing this in the other room, and it just, I think people are gonna absolutely
love it.
Loved it. They I don't think they realize how good a recording this is. Y'all did.
We had a good time with this record.
I mean, the hit, and I was also reading this record sold almost like this one.
Yeah, almost.
But I mean, this one is so, you know, it's kind of got, it's classic, but this one, man, this one's great. I don't think people, they're going to be blown away when they get this.
I was blown away with what you played me this morning.
Yeah, I was wondering, how did you hear the difference?
Absolutely. It was unbelievable. Particularly Lady of the Island.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I was listening to Crosby in one ear and me in the other ear, and it was just...
It's this one, the new one.
The pressure in my chest when you breathe in my ear. We both knew this would happen. We both knew this would happen when you first appeared on the island. The brownness of your body in the fire glow. Except the places where the sun, except the places where the sun refused to go. Our bodies were a perfect fit. In afterglow we lay, letting myself wander through the world inside your eyes. You know I'd like to stay here. You know I'd like to stay here until every tear is dry.
I mean, this song.
Play the new one.
What's that?
One take.
This song in one take?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Really.
I was thinking while we were playing the cathedral, you know, like, but one take on this, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
I love Crosby in that.
Yeah.
It brought back a lot of feelings. You know, it's so sad that that David had passed away. You know,
Yeah.
he was a brilliant musician, and he will be sadly missed.
Yeah, y'all, it was meant to be, all of y'all three coming together. And, you know, what's interesting is, you know, you listen to one song, it will be your song, you wrote it, you singing, or it might be Crosby or Stills. And then with Neil Young, it's just, they're all so good, man.
We've been very lucky.
Yeah. And so we were looking at this one and listening to this one. This is a great album as well.
Songs for Beginners. Yes, my favorite solo record.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that says a lot right there. But
Right.
well, anyway, listen. We appreciate you coming. We can't wait for the show tonight.
Thank you, man.
And I mean, we love knowing you. We love Mark Spector. He's
Right.
really.
And I'm going to talk tonight a little about Mike Finnegan.
Oh, they're gonna love it.
Yeah, because you know, I think tomorrow is an anniversary of his death, and he has the music school here in Salina. You know, so I wanted to talk about Mike Finnegan because he was an incredible musician, and he will be missed for sure.
Yeah, you know, we don't have a whole lot to be proud of in Kansas, you know what I mean? And of course, there's not a whole lot of music that came from this area. But, you know, Finnegan, that's one of our guys, you know what I mean, that we're proud of.
And so tall.
Yeah, so tall and so good. And but we're looking forward to the concert. We're looking forward to working with you. Anything we can help you with, or you know, if we work.
We'll try our best to help you too, Ken.
Yeah. All
Thanks
right,
again.
man. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Chad.
right.
Please like and subscribe for more audiophile content.